Ms. Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Secretary Carson, for being with us today and, for visiting the district. I'm going to associate myself with several of the comments that the three mayors, former mayors, have made here, including myself. This is the fourth time that you've been here before our committee, and each time, you've defended budgets that drastically cut critical housing benefits that help millions of Americans in my community and everywhere in the U.S. Each and every time Congress has rejected those cuts in a bipartisan way, each and every time. So it's insanity that we would continue to push against what Congress has already been very, very clear about. We do not support those cuts. For example, this budget eliminates the Public Housing Capital Fund, the first new housing resource in decades, exclusively targeted to build and preserve affordable housing. It also eliminates the Choice Neighborhoods program, which provides resources to communities to build and rehabilitate affordable housing. It eliminates the Home Investment Partnership programs, the largest federal program dedicated exclusively to increasing the availability of adequate, affordable housing for very, very low-income families. In the department's own budget, you cite a woman from Georgia, and I have blown up a printout of it for you. In your own words, you talk about how this very successful story, how she transitioned from assisted housing, and highlight, her success of becoming a homeowner, which is what we all strive to. The problem is that while you're promoting the story and promoting the great work that all of you did helping her, your budget completely cuts this program. Given all the cuts, how can this committee, and more importantly, the American people, take this administration seriously, that you really want to deal with homelessness in our community, that you really believe that helping our local cities and counties and local jurisdictions, that they can do better when you're failing to provide the proper funding that they need. As a former mayor, city councilwoman, and state legislator, I take this seriously. And I also believe that the federal government has a role to play. Let me give you an example why we need to have some oversight and ensure that we are providing assistance to our communities, not in, words, but actual funding. All of our communities are strapped for funding. They're, working really hard to try to balance their budget every single year. In the city of Los Angeles, they had an issue with asbestos in their flooring. Now, the city under OSHA, Cal OSHA, because they were exposing their workers, children, and the people that lived in those communities, and they refused to stop issuing work orders and forcing their employees to remove the asbestos flooring. They were given a willful violation. So in cases like this of gross negligence, of gross incompetence, there is a need for the federal government to step in and say, we need to do better. And where are the funds to ensure that we are improving these housing units so that children can grow up in an environment that is healthy for them? So I'd like for you to address, some of the comments that I have as it relates to these horrific cuts that you're proposing.
It's very difficult to get the concept across that I like those programs. I think they're good programs. Can we afford them when we continue to create the kind of debt that we're going to pass on to the next generation and ruin their lives.
I agree with you 100%. I was in a state legislature when we shut down California for 6 months. We had a $15 billion deficit. However, the Republican Congress has proven that they're not serious about doing that. When they gave those tax cuts for the top 1% and put us added trillions to our deficit.
Well, I'm not saying
how
that
can
you
you
should
say
get
that?
rid of the program. I'm saying that the program should be funded by the state, not necessarily by the federal government. We've already demonstrated that these programs work. Okay, that was good. But can you continue to do something? Can you sail toward an iceberg that you know is going to kill you? Well, maybe you should change your direction.
Maybe we should stop helping the top 1% and start helping the poor working class communities across America that are the backbone of our economy, and I yield back.